And now a highlight from Animal Radio on iHeartRadio.
We love our pets, and we're very concerned about what they ingest, what they eat. And Lori just reported that General Mills just bought Blue Buffalo for $8 billion. Holy moly.
Wow. Jeez.
There's really only a handful of companies that own all of these brands of food. You know, you go there, you go to the store, and you look and you say, wow, how do I make a selection? There's an amazing selection and variety, but really there's only about 3 or 4 major brands, and they all source their foods from the same places. You might remember the melamine contamination many years ago.
Oh, yeah.
That's when it became really evident that all of these foods are being sourced from the same place, and that it's all about branding for the companies. They want you to think that you're getting some special healthy food, but it's just all the same crap. You know who we have back on the show right now is Jaclyn Bowen. She's the executive director for the Clean Label Project, and she really woke me up to this whole problem a few months ago when they tested 99 pet foods and found everything from arsenic and heavy metals in the food. And, of course, she's on top of this whole thing that's going on with pentobarbital in food. Hi, welcome back, Jaclyn.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
So for listeners that are just tuning in this week that don't understand how pentobarbital ends up in their food, in their cats' or dogs' food, how does this happen?
Well, it's really interesting because right now the FDA has still not released the results of their investigation. One possible way is through contaminated ingredients. That one thing that we could possibly see is that the ingredients came from a rendered animal facility where essentially animals that had been euthanized were ended up in the protein supply chain and were ultimately used in the creation of these finished products.
Okay, so this is a big company, Smucker's, which we know for their jams and jellies. They own, how many pet foods do they have?
Oh, many. I know at least in terms of part of the recall, I know that both Old Roy was recalled, as well as Skippy, as well as, of course, Gravy Train and Kibbles and Bits. And that's only a small percentage of their overall portfolio of pet food brands. Yeah,
can you tell me a little bit about those particular brands of food before the pentobarbital was discovered in them? Were they good foods before that?
Well, it's interesting, and it really depends on what you're looking for. All of those particular products are value-priced products. So it's one where, you know, just because something is value-priced does not necessarily mean lower ingredient quality. But to your point earlier, one thing that we did identify, Old Roy is actually the private label brand for Walmart. So for each of these products, clearly they are sharing the same ingredients.
And you know what? I just want to comment because when we say pentobarbital, that doesn't mean what kind of animal it came from, because it's a medication that is actually used to euthanize not just dogs and cats, but large animals that are not meant to be in the food animal world. So the presence of pentobarbital, it doesn't mean necessarily this is a dog or cat that's ended up in food. It just means there is an animal. We'd have to do DNA testing to find out what kind of animal meat is
So it could have been a cow or a pig.
It's possible, but largely when it comes to different euthanasia drugs, you would be looking at dogs or cats or even horses. Typically, different types of stunning is used in the euthanasia of farm animals. So hopefully the FDA investigation will give us a little bit more insight of exactly the source of that contamination.
Are there any good foods out there?
You know, actually, based on our testing, and in 2017, the Clean Label Project released a pet food study where we tested nearly 1,100 of the best-selling dry and wet dog foods, cat foods, and treats in America. And while you do see a significant quality gradient between the top and bottom performing products, there's a bunch of really great products out there for consumers that are looking for something that's both healthy and nutritious, as well as low in industrial environmental contaminants.
I want to know how the pentobarbital was discovered. Was it discovered just doing regular testing, or were animals becoming sick?
So far, based on the investigation I've seen, as well as what Gravy Train has released, as well as the investigative reporter, Lisa Fletcher, is that it was just through routine testing for pentobarbital. Obviously, we had the Avengers recall from several months back, and knowing that just that particular brand was implicated at that time, I think it was just one where, you know, what is the breadth and depth of contamination within pet food? And just building off of that premise is ultimately where the pentobarbital was identified within these Gravy Train products.
We are with Jaclyn Bowen. She's the executive director of the Clean Label Project. She's no stranger to Animal Radio. She's really made me aware of just what kind of crap is out in our pet food. And it makes me a little bit leery, actually, to just go into a pet store, and just pick a food anymore without at least consulting the website. You do have a database and a list of good foods and bad foods over at the website. Is that correct?
That's correct. So you can check out cleanlabelproject.org, look under pet food, and we have a 5-star rating system that we basically are able to pull all of the different test results across over 150 different industrial environmental contaminants and drill those down into an overall 5-star rating that you can check out on our website. But
and is there anybody in your pocket?
Nothing like that. No, I can tell you this, is that since we released that study, I definitely haven't received any Christmas cards from different pet food brands because, at the end of the day, for us at Clean Label Project, I mean, it's, marketing departments do such an effective job at selling comfort and security. And so for us, it's all about exclusively using data and science to be able to see past all those claims. So, yes, it's really about the data and science.
So what if my pet food is not on your list, if I can't find it? Is there any way I can find out if pentobarbital is in one of the ingredients?
Well, I would definitely tell you this. And so when it comes to pentobarbital, there was just over 100 products that so far were tested. And I'm hoping that with obviously all of the attention that this matter has received, that a lot more brands will be doing testing. So if you have any hesitation or any questions, overall I encourage consumers just to speak up, ask your brands for literally details to substantiate any claims they have, and specifically ask if that product has been tested for pentobarbital.
Ooh, you're doing a certification program, aren't you?
That's correct. We do have a new certification program. So essentially the way that it works is it's for brands that are interested in getting certified and having the Clean Label Project on their package. And what we do is we require unannounced testing. What we look to do is literally simulate the consumer shopping experience. So we don't tell brands when or where, but we randomly pull products off store shelves, test it, and it needs to meet the strict requirements of the Clean Label Project Code of Practice.
And they can put their seal on their...
That's pretty.
Isn't
that's
that
pretty cool? How many people have? How many companies have come forward to say, "Hey, try us"?
It's just a handful so far, but it is a brand new program.
Yeah. Do you charge for that certification?
We charge just for the cost of literally to perform the testing.
So when I pick up a bag of food over at the store, I see this picture on the front of the bag that includes, it looks like a T-bone steak and some...
I would eat it.
Carrots and tomatoes and all these vegetables. Is that anything like what's in our food?
Oh, right. No, I mean, I can tell you this. It's fascinating because when you look at over 1,100 pet foods and literally a mass of over 75,000 data points, you see trends. And one thing is clear, is that the cleanest protein source when it comes to pet food is turkey, with the most contaminated ingredient by far being fish. And when we think about the fish that we eat, when we think about fillets and those types of things, vastly different from what's put in pet food. In pet food, you're talking about things like the organ meat, the skin, the bones, the fat. And all of these have a tendency to bioaccumulate heavy metals, which is why you see these significant contamination within fish-based pet products.
So General Mills, we just learned this hour, General Mills bought Blue Buffalo for $8 billion. And Blue Buffalo started out as sort of a premium food. What do you think is going to happen now?
It could be pretty interesting to see. Obviously, General Mills, this will be their first foray into the kind of natural pet space. I think time will tell in terms of how Blue Buffalo can affect the rest of the brand, or any additional quality assurance and quality control improvements that could possibly be made based on the influence of one of these legacy-type brands.
Okay. I appreciate you spending time with us. What's the website for listeners to check out?
Check us out at cleanlabelproject.org under pet food.
Jaclyn, always great to hear from. Well, it's sort of always great to hear from you. I mean, you give me some bad news, but I like hearing from you. So
appreciate it.
You check in anytime you want. Jaclyn Bowen from the Clean Label Project. We'll put links to everything you've heard on today's show over at animalradio.pet.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Visit us at animalradio.com or download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.